Well, somebody's still selling some comic books. So a few weeks ago, I talked about how Spawn Universe sold 100,000 issues, which is pretty impressive for Spawn. Now they're selling 500,000 issues, which is crazy. Spawn's really coming back up in popularity, I guess. I was talking to a comic book shop owner yesterday, and I guess Spawn's kind of going through this new period of sales, and people are getting interested in the character again. And a lot of that is due to Todd McFarlane really just kind of out there selling books and hyping up the character. And it's funny, they do this without any weirdo headlines. I mean, you can just kind of go over and look at what DC Comics is doing, where they literally have Robin exploring himself for comic book sales. Now, this won't last. It trends on Twitter and gets some far left progressives talking, but other than that, like, sales might pick up for this issue and then they'll go away again. There's no long-term readers that are going to jump on and start exploring comic books because of this. They might buy this one issue, set it up somewhere, like as a poster, like, yeah, check this out. We're going to put this on the wall, and then they'll never read comics again until some other character that DC Comics throws darts at a board at and decides that character is going to come out in some fashion for an issue. The comics will go back into a state of flux and not sell. And keep in mind, this is how they sell comics now. This, not like Robin gets a new ability or has like a really dark storyline. No, it's going to be him dating dudes now. This is what's gonna sell comic books. Even though he's been clearly on one side of the fence for decades. But hey, like I said, I literally think they have a dartboard at DC Comics and Marvel, and it's got all of the characters on it. And they decide, okay, we're going to throw a dart, and whatever name gets hit, that's who's coming out this week. And then, well, Manga, meanwhile, needs to do nothing like this to make sales. It has stuff like that in it. From what I understand, One Piece has a whole entire island of trans characters. But they don't need to make that a headline to sell One Piece books. Top 20 graphic novels, all manga, except for 2 spots. I'd like to note one is a South Korean book. But hey, comics are doing just fine, even though all of their top tier writers are leaving. The writer of Spider-Man, X-Men, and now Batman have stepped away to go to some indie comic line called Substack, which I'm trying to learn about. From what I understand, it's like some form of Patreon for comic book writers. I'm trying to learn what this thing is so I can do a video on it. But the most important takeaway here is all the writers are leaving. Everybody wants out of comics. Why is that? But comics are doing so good, even though you literally have comic book writers on Twitter talking about how impoverished they are, but comics are booming. They're doing so great.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved. You don't like my Twitter feed? Unfollow me.
Meanwhile, Todd McFarlane says, yeah, I want your money. I want you to follow me. I want you to buy my book. And people do. Like, this book is selling with no big headlines. I literally see nothing on this other than this. I get on, I think it was, first I saw it over here at the Hollywood Reporter. And I said, like, no way. There's 500,000 issues. That's insane. Then Bounding into Comics covers it as well. Well, let me take a look at this. Because, like I said, there's no headlines. I haven't seen anything on this. But all of a sudden, this book's out of nowhere is just selling like crazy. And, they didn't even have to have Al come out and say that he likes dudes. For some reason, I guess art is just speaking for itself. This is a sweet ass cover. This is a really sweet cover. This is a sweet cover. This is a sweet cover. This is probably my favorite out of all 3. I'm actually looking forward to reading this. I'm going to read this book. Well, it's impressive. And to make things clear, this sold better than DC Comics' best-selling comic book, which was Action Comics 1000. That sold like almost 500,000. This beat it. This beat that book. Image Comics announced that Todd McFarlane's upcoming King Spawn #1 shattered comic book sales. The publisher claims that King Spawn #1 had just under 500,000 pre-orders of the book from comic book retailers, that this marks the single largest new superhero monthly title launch in the comic book industry in the past 25 years, based on the standard sales formula of the comic book industry. They said that no Avengers or Justice League character has debuted a monthly book with sales numbers like King Spawn #1 in the 21st century. Specifically, Image notes that the book's pre-orders totaled 497,000. When DC Comics relaunched their entire line with the New 52 back in 2011, their flagship book, Batman, only shipped 188,000. And then I don't know if they have the numbers for Action Comics in here, but I believe that didn't even hit 500,000 either. Here we go. Hollywood Reporter has it. For context of how big King Spawn is, DC's Action Comics #1 1000 sold an estimated 504,000 units to become the top-selling comic of 2018. DC Comics Detective Comics #1000 topped 2019 with 574,000 issues, which is a lot. All right, that's kind of the milestone where we're at now, and this is pretty damn amazing. And like I said, they did it with no weirdo headlines, no big milestone, like 1,000 issues for Batman and Superman. It's pretty significant. Those are big. Those are big deals. The fact that they've been around for so long, but now you have King Spawn here, just kind of coming in out of nowhere, and like I said, doing it without like trying to get Twitter horny. So it's interesting to see. The big question I have is, will they be able to continue having high sales on a book, after the first issue? That'll be the real test. But happy to see it. As much as you might not want to believe it, I don't want comic books to die. I just want them to do stuff like this, be successful without having to get Twitter all ruffled up. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, make sure to follow me over on Twitch. I do watch parties, play video games over there. They're always fun. Follow me over there and come hang out. Also, make sure you subscribe to YellowFlash, my other channel. There's a link to that in the description as well. I do a lot of live streams over there that I don't do on this channel. Usually smaller and a little bit more personal. So make sure you follow me over there and sign up.